Folks, Michael Zuber, one rental at a time. And normally on Thursdays, we do the daily financial news at 7. That is going to be at 7:30. Reason being is Jonathan Twomley is out with his family, and I just have to get this video off my chest. Yesterday, folks, if you haven't watched it, I interviewed Brian Lebo, the one and only Brian Lebo from Las Vegas, Nevada. Brian Lebo has a channel on YouTube, I believe, called the Lebo Group. Please check him out. The reason this is important, if you're new to the channel, is Brian and I have been speaking for almost 3 years. He has been on my channel a dozen or more times. He and I have a great relationship. I sent him Laker tickets to the Warriors game, so we are pretty good friends. What happened yesterday is what I have been waiting for. I have never invested in Las Vegas, Nevada, to be clear. But as I said 3 years ago, when Brian Lebo and I started talking, Las Vegas, Nevada, for me, is the canary in the coal mine. It is the ultimate boom and bust market. It is the one that if you can know and understand, you can get early indications that real estate markets are changing. And for the first time in 3 years, Brian Lebo told us yesterday the market is changing. That video, I think, went out yesterday at 5 o'clock. We have another critical video coming out today at 5 o'clock talking about investors, first-time buyers, and agents. Watch for that video. But what is really important here is what you and I do. Most of us will never buy in Las Vegas. So what happens in Las Vegas? Does it really matter to you? I'm here to say, I think it does. I think what happens in Las Vegas is a sign that we can do better. As real estate investors, as someone who hopes to close multiple transactions this year and next year, what I heard from yesterday from Brian is music to my ears. I have been waiting for Vegas to crack. For example, one of the stats, there's 2 stats in the video that I think are important. First, when Brian was running through the numbers of the last 9 weeks of inventory additions, what you hopefully took from that is it's accelerating. Fear of missing out is accelerating. Now, lots of wish pricing, some of those won't sell. The market is about to be very dirty, right? Does a listing at 500 in a 400 market where the seller won't take a penny less a real listing? I don't think so. Some agent's going to lose a lot of time, but it will count. So this is what I mean by dirty. This is why you have to, big, bold letters, have to watch your buy box every single day. Your buy box is changing every day. More listings, price drops, came off, went pending, cancellation. Folks, don't you dare write an offer until you've looked at your buy box for 90 days. Until you know what average is, you are not writing offers, because we are only writing great offers. And how can you write a great offer if you can't tell me what is average? It is that simple. But what I got from Brian Lebo yesterday is amazing, because as the market cracks in Vegas, you and I have opportunities in our buy box across the country and likely across the world. So I did a whiteboard presentation probably 2 or 3 weeks ago called Do the Math. Again, you can find it on this channel underneath the playlist called Whiteboard. Really quick, the math for me is yearly cash flow divided by cash in the deal, right? Down payment, closing costs, make ready, yearly cash flow, rent minus all expenses, including mortgage, tax, insurance, reserves, all of that stuff. I'm not going to go in detail. I have an 8-minute video talking all about this. But what Brian Lebo told us yesterday, you now have permission to adjust both of these numbers and get a greater yield. If you understand the spreadsheet that I'm trying to teach you, that I use every day, you can adjust these numbers and see your yield explode. Great deals, 2% above average. Plus, Business Insider, you have to find it, was released Sunday. I gave you the recipe. I am no longer looking at first day listings. I'm looking at olders because I am fishing for motivated sellers. So, how can this help you? Well, there's the obvious. Okay, lower price. Lower price is interesting. It is frankly what most YouTube channels will be talking about. I guarantee you that most of them are going to be wrong. They're calling for a 30% crash in values this year. They're wrong. But again, if you can get a lower price, if you get a 200 for 180, you get Matt, the mortgage guy yesterday talked about a client at 399, wrote it at 350. It got accepted. So a 50K price drop is amazing. What does a 50K price drop mean here? Well, your down payment is, let's assume 10% down. So, 50K price drop is $5,000 in down payment, right? Your down payment's lower. Your mortgage obviously is going to be lower, right? So your mortgage is going to be lower. Taxes will probably be lower. That's about right. So your yield will undoubtedly go up, but it will not be as meaningful. If you really want to blow out your yields, go attack some other things. And we again got this from Matt, the mortgage guy. If you are finding motivated sellers, right, get a lower price, I want you to go for more. Sometimes I want you to give, here's an example. You're nickeling diming over $10,000 on an offer. Maybe give them the 10 grand on price so they feel good, but have them pay closing costs. Maybe, and again, sellers are weird. The bottom line number may not change, but if you give them the number, but ask for closing costs, sometimes, and I have seen it, they'll say, okay. Maybe they don't know what closing costs are. Maybe they don't know how much they are. I don't know. But again, if you get the seller to pay closing costs, that's right off the bottom line. Then yesterday, Matt, the mortgage guy, brought us something that is genius. It was first brought up by Greg Dickerson. Greg Dickerson told us that builders are going to buy down your rate. They're going to pay 1, 2, maybe 3 points if the numbers work to buy down your rate. So instead of getting 6.25, you could get 5.5. Again, we are fishing in a new market. The market has changed. Use it to your full advantage. You don't need every deal. You need one deal. So next, not only get the seller to pay closing costs, get them to buy down your rate. That it's here, right? Lower mortgage payment. You want to blow up your yield, meaning make it bigger. Get the seller to buy down your rate. Maybe it falls 0.5 point. Maybe it falls to 0.75 point. That is real money. That is real extra cash flow every month. You want to get a great yield? Control the top line expenses. And your biggest expense is your mortgage payment. Please, the market is different. You have the power. Write better offers. It is not only price. Pull every lever you can. Price, buy down on rates, pay 100% of my closing costs. Folks, you have all been begging for a real estate slowdown. It is here. Vegas is the canary in the coal mine. Now, I talked about Vegas having Brian Lebo and I conversation having two important metrics. I've only hit one. The first one, of course, was 9 weeks of increasing inventory, fear of missing out from sellers. But in the middle of the conversation, I asked Brian Lebo to go back and look at historical transactions. We both agreed that Las Vegas, Nevada is going to see a 50% drop in transactions this year. We talked some about price. We talked about risk pricing. All of that next year. Housing market doesn't move as fast as you all want. Do the work now. Understand, as a buyer, you have more power today than any time in my 22 years. Even in 2010, buyers didn't have this much power. You can pull every single lever. Wow, I need more coffee. Again, too many of you are thinking price. Yes, of course, price is important, but most of us are getting loans. So a $20K drop in price might save you $2,000 in down payment. That's just how the math works. Please get closing costs. That lowers it right off the table. Please get them to buy down the rate. Get 30-year money. The fact that ARMs are, exploding makes me very, very nervous. So again, what do we do on this channel? We focus, buy box. There's a video on this channel called Buy Box Deep Dive. Go find it. Second, we do the math, right? Whiteboard conversation on this channel. And now, because you and I only need to do 1 or 2 transactions this year, we are going to write better offers. So again, what I strongly suggest in your buy box, this is your buy box, not Vegas, not the Nation, not the High Desert, not Fresno. You need to figure out this stands for days on market. Every market will be different. Wow, you can't really see that. That pen is horrible. Let's try this again. I got to get bigger pens. Days on market. Yeah, hopefully you get that now. Yeah, that looks better. Days on market. You need to look in your buy box right now, today, and figure out, when do price drops happen? If you're in Southern California, which I talk to people all the time, maybe it's as short as 7 days. 7 days, price drops happen. Maybe. In my market, it's 15. Some markets, it'll be 21. Some markets, it might be 30. But please find out where price drops start occurring in your market, because every market will have a standard number. Use that to your advantage. Stop competing for first day listings. First day listings are over. Let the FHA, let the VA buyers have the cleanest and prettiest properties. They will outpay you, and they need their time in the sun. With days on market, you will find uglier properties that have a little hair on them. You are fishing for motivated sellers today only. Don't pay list price. Get closing costs. Get 100% of closing costs paid by the seller. Get greedy. Get the seller to buy down your rate. Folks, most of you can buy one property. Please make it a phenomenal and amazing and a great deal. You have more power in a market where transactions fall 50% suddenly off a cliff. You have the power. Please use it. Lastly, if you are working with an agent that is telling you to write list price or, heaven forbid, over list price, get another agent, especially if you're doing investment properties. It's just not that time. It's not that market. That market left. Okay, folks, again, you have all been waiting for the real estate slowdown. My conversation with Brian Lebo yesterday finally said the boom bust cycle is cracking, hasn't cracked, cracking, and it's time to do the work. Buy box, daily discipline, watch your market change, write better offers, lower price, closing costs, buy down in rate. Just with these little changes, you can probably get an extra 1 or 2%. You remove closing costs, you have your mortgage down 0.5%, your yield probably goes up 2%. This is a yield game. This is entirely a yield game. If you don't know what I'm talking about, buy the course below, How to Get Started One Rental at a Time. Join the thousands of people in the Facebook group. Don't forget, this Saturday, just for my students, we're doing a deep dive 90-minute session of the 50-40-10, which again, seller financing. I am using this days on market for seller financing. I'm even giving you my postcard if you want to use it, how I use PropStream to find them. This channel is about helping you build wealth. It's helping you do great deals. I hope you enjoy it. Folks, we will do the daily financial news in a few minutes. Bye-bye.